Hello and welcome into the NJCAA network for another edition of NJCAA All Access. It is week 10 already, our 10th episode of NJCAA All Access, and I'm Zach McKinstry.
And I'm Alexa Wesselman, and it's hard to believe we're 10 weeks into NJCAA All Access, and it's also hard to believe we are almost through fall championships. In fact, we've already named 3 champions. Across the D3 level, Dallas colleges have dominated. So in D3 men's soccer, Dallas Richland won the championship. Congrats to them. In D3 women's soccer, Dallas Brookhaven claimed the title. And in D3 volleyball, Dallas Eastfield walked away champions.
Yeah, the Thunder Ducks, the Bears, and the Harvester Bees all national champions. It's chaos right now with the championships going on. And then football winding down as we fight for those final playoff spots. And we start today with breaking news. Garden City Community College and the Broncbusters announced yesterday morning that they are parting ways with longtime junior college football coach Tom Minnick. Minnick finished 32-19 over 5 seasons at Garden City, but had back-to-back losing campaigns at 4-6 last year and 5-6 this year. Athletic Director Mike Pilasoff said in a statement that they will begin a nationwide search for their next head coach starting immediately. Garden City played in the final week of the regular season Saturday in what was a thrilling week for our junior college scoreboard. 14 teams played their final regular season game last weekend, highlighted by the top clash of the year and the most anticipated regular season game in a long time. Number 1 Hutch and number 2 Iowa Western. The battle between the undefeated Giants started quickly for Iowa Western, who marched 60 yards with Jonathan Humpel punching in a 3-yard touchdown. A couple of minutes later, a 3-and-out set up Star Reavers QB Hunter Watson, who took it 68 yards to the house, and IWCC led 13-0 against the Big Bad Blue Dragons. But it was only a matter of time before Hutch started clicking, and the Blue Dragon rally started with a strip sack by Daniel Brown on Hunter Watson, getting the ball back before the half, and a 31-yard passing touchdown by Samari Collier cut the deficit at the break to just 7. The remaining 30 minutes was dominated by the Hutch rushing game, which tallied 293 yards and 189 in the fourth quarter alone, including this 55-yard go-ahead touchdown by Brandon Epton Jr. The Blue Dragon defense stuffed the Reavers like a Thanksgiving turkey, allowing only 19 rush yards in the second half and recording a 42-28 win to stay perfect and atop the national rankings. Number 5 Snow sits on the outside looking in at a playoff spot, but picked up another resume-building win thanks to a big day from Donovan Smith, taking down Monroe, the team that received votes in the last poll, 32-13. And number 11 Lackawanna was upset by unranked Georgia Military at home. And now for the good stuff. Postseason football began on Saturday as the MACCC and Southwest Junior College Football Championship semifinals took place, giving us plenty to think about on the national stage. First, number 6 Mississippi Gulf Coast, the top offense in the NJCAA, had their season come to an end at the hands of Buddy Stevens and East Mississippi. EMCC picked up their second loss of the season against the Bulldogs in September, but after rattling off 5 wins in a row, the Lions got their revenge. East Mississippi controlled this game from the start, opening up play with a 75-yard touchdown drive finished on this run from Ty Crowell. A 3-and-out set up another touchdown drive to make it 13-0 on Kyron Benjamin's 4-yard rush, and a 4th down sack led to another score for the Lions, who picked up a 39-yard field goal to lead 16-0. That was followed by a Lions interception from Brian Lanier, picking off former EMCC QB Eli Anderson, and then a 3rd touchdown of the first half on another Kroll rushing touchdown. So all of that resulted in a 23-0 lead at the break, and the Lions defense held up, tallying 3 takeaways and only allowing 119 rushing yards against the most lethal rushing team in the NJCAA. A late comeback from MGCCC fell short, and East Mississippi advanced to the MACCC championship with a 33-21 win. They'll play a team they lost to in the season opener as Copiah Lincoln moved to 9-1 with a dominant win over number 10 Northwest Mississippi. And in Texas, we had a shootout as number 14 New Mexico Military took number 3 Kilgore to triple overtime. The Rangers defense shut down Broncos quarterback Kieran Meyer in the first half, who was 6 for 14 for 45 yards and 2 interceptions at the break. And star wide receiver Zeke Freeman can't stop catching long touchdowns as he tallied this 60-yarder to put Kilgore in front. That would be the one and only touchdown in regulation for Kilgore as New Mexico Military rallied in the second half, and this long 38-yard pass to Travion Beeman in the ensuing extra point gave the Broncos a 22-19 lead with a minute 43 to go. The Rangers got all the way down to the Nittany 5-yard line, but settled on a game-tying field goal to send it to OT. Both sides traded touchdowns in the first 2 overtime frames, and the third overtime would see both sides go for 2. Cam Peters punched it through for Kilgore, pushing the lead to 37-35, and the Rangers defense would make a stand, breaking up a pass in the end zone and giving the number 3 Kilgore College Rangers the win. They'll play Navarro, who snuck by Trinity Valley 30-29 in a matchup of the number 12 and number 14 nationally ranked teams. They won on a failed 2-point conversion from the Cardinals. That puts an end to football action from the last weekend, but as basketball season gets started, we have a couple of big matchups at the D1 level. Number 3 Odessa took down number 18 Panola College 80-69, and a big upset on the women's side as number 11 McLennan beat number 2 Trinity Valley by 15. So now that I get a chance to catch my breath, we'll send it over to Alexa, who previews some of the upcoming matchups for next weekend.
Well, this next week is going to be full of highlights from these upcoming matchups because there's some really big ones. Let's jump right into it with D1 football. Number 4 Colon faces number 6 EMCC. This is the MACCC championship game featuring 2 teams a lot of people weren't expecting. East Mississippi has 2 losses, one to Mississippi Gulf Coast and the other to Colon. They met on September 7th, and who would have thought that we would get a rematch of that game in the conference championship, no less. Keeping in D1 football, number 8 Navarro faces number 3 Kilgore. This is the SWJCFC championship match. Keep up with that, was a mouthful. Once again, these teams have played already. On September 23rd, the Bulldogs beat the Rangers 24-20. Will Navarro be able to beat them again? Kilgore did go on to have a very strong season after that loss, so this is going to be a very good game. And we have a ton of ESPN Plus coverage from our championships coming up. D1 men's soccer, the semifinals are on today, Thursday, November 16th. Game 1 is at 4 p.m. Eastern, and Game 2 is 6:30 p.m. Eastern. The championship is also on Plus on Saturday, November 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern. In D1 women's soccer, their semifinals are also on Plus. Today, Thursday, Game 1 was at 11 a.m. and Game 2 was at 1:30 p.m. The championship match is on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And in D1 volleyball, the entire last day of championships will be on Plus, which includes the 9th, 7th, 5th, and 3rd place matches, which start at 10 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, and the championship match at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll have a lot to go over in the scoreboard next week from all of those matches, but we're going to take a break. After that, Aaron and Zach have a lot to talk about with the 1-2 matchup of Hutch Iowa Western that happened last week.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
I have a little birthday message for you from someone too.
I heard you really love basketball. You're a good shooter and a good dribbler. Happy birthday, MJ, and I hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Welcome back to NJCAA All Access. Zach and Coach Aaron are standing by with a lot of information to go over across our D1 football landscape. So let's just get over to them.
Thanks, Alexa. Once more, we are here with Coach Aaron Arnold. And, Coach, it seemed like Friday night, Saturday morning was like Christmas Eve to Christmas morning with junior college playoff football coming in and the most anticipated regular season match we've had in a long time between number 1 Hutch, number 2 Iowa Western, 42-28. Hutch won that one in a tale of two halves after it was a quick start from Iowa Western, but things flipped on a strip sack and a score at the end of the first half, and then they ran away with it in the second half. So what did you see from that game? Did anything surprise you in the battle of the number 1, number 2?
Well, what you just said, I was surprised to see how quick Iowa Western was able to jump out to an early lead, especially at Hutch. They were obviously very excited to play that game. And the tail of the tape ended up being about some big swings brought on by some momentum. And it was kind of what we talked about. Iowa Western made a few mistakes, which is pretty uncharacteristic for Iowa Western. And Hutch did a great job capitalizing on those. I think the key play of the game was the one that you mentioned, that strip sack late in the second quarter. Western's driving there, and they've got a chance maybe to score again before the half, to go into the half 28-7. That's a pretty big lead to have at the half. And instead, what happened was Hutch made a big-time play, capitalized on the mistake, was able to get a score of their own, and they cut the lead to 21-14 at the half. And momentum is such a huge thing. The younger your athletes are, the more important the momentum is. And so in junior college football, momentum is everything. And so I think when they went into the locker room, Hutch felt really good, and Iowa Western probably realized they had just, lost the momentum. And kudos to Hutch. They made some great adjustments there at the half. They came out and executed a really great game plan. They were able to rush the ball for 300 yards, and they held the Reavers to only 130 yards rushing, with most of those coming in the first half. So hats off to Hutch. They did what they're supposed to do. They went out and handled their business. But that all being said, I will not be surprised if these two get to play each other one more time. And if that happens, it's probably an advantage, I think, maybe for Iowa Western. It's hard to beat the same team twice in a row. So if it works out and the playoffs all come together and these two see each other again, it makes it a tough order for Hutch to go beat those guys the second.
I was going to say the same thing. It's tough to beat a team twice, and we'll see what adjustments that each side makes if they do play further down the line. And it was a 42-28 game, but it seemed a lot closer than that until Hutch ran away with it late. So tight contest between the 1 and 2, and then conference playoffs in Mississippi. And we get to talk about East Mississippi on this episode, who lost 2 in September. A lot of teams and a lot of people wrote them off, but what a resilient return, as they've now won 6 in a row. They took down the top offense in all of junior college football in Mississippi Gulf Coast, and they get a rematch of their loss in their season opener against a then unranked Co-Lin team and a now number 4 Co-Lin team. We examined that opening year loss on week 1 of NJCAA All Access, and this is what you had to say.
In looking at that, I think the real assessment there is it's just so early in the season. A lot of times at this level of football, we just don't even know what we don't know. Co-Lin may look like a bad loss on paper. Co-Lin may be in the hunt for the national title. It's so you can so wildly change your roster year in and year out that there's just too much unknown to rush to judgment.
Do you expect this game to be as close as the 23-20 final in week 1?
I think based on what we know today, it certainly sets up to be a dogfight. East Mississippi stumbled out of the gate early, but they have made dramatic improvements as the year has gone on. They got the number 1 quarterback in the country, Ty Keys. He's playing great. They're also running the football very well late in the season. The improvement made by East Mississippi is remarkable, but Co-Lin's gotten better too. And so I think this sets up to be as exciting of a game as what we watched with number 1 versus number 2. I think this is 2 of the top 5 teams in the country going at it. And it's going to be a really interesting one to watch.
Yeah, and if anybody gives you crap for your predictions from here on out, you can show them that clip and say, hey, I was on Co-Lin from the get-go.
I'm going to guess I'm the only one in the country that had Co-Lin in the national playoff hunt in week 1. I feel pretty strong about that prediction.
Right. Devin Todd is leading the Wolves in a big way, and that was a big win in week 1. They've obviously worked their way forward, and now we talk about the playoff picture with Kilgore, number 3, in their semifinal, needing triple overtime to get by New Mexico Military. Do you think that hurts them at all, or do you have them still one of the best 4 teams in the country?
I think when you're playing playoff football in November, I think the voters probably understand this as well. But wins are wins. Anything can happen when you get into the playoffs this late in the season. That's a very good team that they were playing. And would they have rather won it in regulation by 2 scores? Sure. Does it look better? Probably, but it shouldn't hurt them. In the end, they were able to go out, handle their business, do what they needed to do, and they walked away with the W. And in my opinion, that's all that matters. As far as I'm concerned, if they continue to win next week, lock up the Texas championship, they're a lock. They should be in the playoffs without any question.
Right now, the only thing we know is the 2 teams that will be in. It is Hutch and Iowa Western. Everything else up for grabs, and we will find out as that plays out. And next time I talk with you, we'll know those 4 teams. So thanks, Coach. Always appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for having me. Talk to you soon.
Thank you both for all of the insight. And the next time we meet, we're going to know the playoff picture. So excited for that. We're going to take another break. And on the other side, we've got rankings that include basketball finally.
The future is threatened by enemies often unseen and unexpected. In the midst of an uncertain and evolving world, the need for Marines to defeat these shifting threats is critical, because the need to ensure stability for our nation has never been greater. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
Welcome back to NJCAA All Access. Championships are wrapping up, but we move into rankings and look ahead to winter sports. We do finish D3 football, though, with no changes. College of DuPage still leads the way, followed by Rochester Technical College in second, North Dakota SCS in third, Minnesota North College fourth, and Nassau Community College in fifth. And we finally can talk about basketball rankings. We kick it off with D1 men's basketball, the first official rankings of the season. Northwest Florida State tops the spot with South Plains second, Odessa third, Salt Lake fourth, and Vincennes rounding out the top 5. D2 men's basketball, Milwaukee Area Technical College leads the way with South Suburban second, Des Moines Area ranked third, Johnson County fourth, and Davidson-Davie fifth. In D3 men's basketball, Brookdale comes in ranked number 1, Northern Essex second, Sandhills ranked third, Dallas Northlake fourth, and Rochester Technical College in fifth. Moving over to women's basketball, looking at D1, to no surprise, the reigning national champions Northwest Florida State are at the top, followed by Gulf Coast State, College of Southern Idaho, New Mexico, and Collin County. D2 women's basketball, Kirkwood sits there right at the top with Johnson County following in second, followed by Harcum, CCBC Essex, and North Central Missouri. And we wrap it up with D3 women's basketball. Rochester Technical College comes in ranked first, followed by Minnesota West, Owens, Riverland, and Anoka Ramsey in the 5th ranked spot. So good to see basketball rankings finally back, and excited to talk about them over the next couple of weeks as they get into their season and see how everything changes up as quickly as it will. All right, we're going to go over to Zach with a jam-packed Junior College Gems this week.
Well, last week I told you that championships would bring the highlights, and they most certainly did. We have highlights from every sport across the board in fall and winter, but we start with men's basketball. Basketball season is all the way back in Iowa. Top 20 matchup, final 5 seconds, tie game, and Braden Sparks is the hero. Bang! It's a clutch game winner for the Warriors, who take down number 20 Moberly area 75-72 on a big-time bucket. Chaos ensues on the floor and in the booth. Here's how it sounded.
Comes into Devontae. Devontae up the right side to the corner. Shot on the way. Yeah!
might have busted your headphones, but a great game and a great call. In Texas, New Mexico Military's Travion Beeman juggles it to himself on the sideline and walks in for a fourth quarter score to rally back against number 3 Kilgore in the Southwest Junior College Football Conference semifinal. And if you thought that was clutch, this catch comes later in the game. 3rd and long in double overtime. Need to have it towards the sideline. And what a catch as some toe-tapping action on the 3-yard line. Flex on him, Travion. The Broncos would convert and score, but they eventually would lose later in the game in triple overtime, 37-35 to the Rangers. Now to our NJCAA championships, Edward Neese with a spinning back heel to net the only goal in a win against the defending national champs Prairie State. The leaping 360 was so nice it made number 1 on ESPN's top 10 on Tuesday night, and it's worth one more look as the Hawks march into the semifinals with a 1-0 victory. Lastly, Division III men's soccer championships on the corner kick. And the save is not the highlight here. It's the rebound volley from Lorenzo Cali. Rifled it into the top of the net for a golden goal winner for number 2 Nassau to get by number 7 Bunker Hill. And that one in double overtime. The 1-0 final pushed them through to the semifinals. Nassau would end up getting to the 3rd place game, but losing in that one. Regardless, what a goal by Lorenzo Cali to close out our junior college gyms.
Some great top plays that have come out of our championships. And also, how cool is it to see ESPN acknowledge that fantastic kick? And championships continue through Saturday, so maybe we'll get some more top plays.
Oh, yeah, really cool for Edward Neese and the Northeast Hawks. Those championships on the NJCAA network. Be sure to tune into those. And then the Division I sports, all of those will be on ESPN Plus for the final day in the championship games. So be sure to tune in to those as well. That's all we got for you today on NJCAA All Access. We're going to be taking a break for a couple of weeks, so enjoy the holidays with your family, and we'll be here when you come back in December. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.